It's 11 here on this Tuesday morning, and this is segment 4 here of the Daily Wraps on episode 66. Now I'd like to talk about a food item. And on Saturday I talked about cheesecake. Now I'm going to talk about it again for those of you that missed the show on Saturday night. Well, a cheesecake, guys, you just can't go wrong with it. And cheesecakes are perfect for morning tea or afternoon tea, or if they're well. Here's my outsider now to open segment 4 about cheesecake. Good morning.
Good morning, Barry. Thank you for having me. Cheesecakes are very good for celebrations as well, or farewells, or anything really, because they're very tasty.
And there are so many types of cheesecake you can make, like cheesecake with a nice filling, and you can use Oreos for the base. Here's my outsider.
This is Barry said you can use Oreos as the base, which is a fantastic way to use another sweet in another sort of cake as well.
And you can also put reserved Oreos on the top. Here's my outsider.
Yes, as Barry was saying, you can also use a reserve Oreos to just sprinkle on top as well, so it'll be a beautiful Oreo cheesecake.
Now, have you ever had a Mars bar cheesecake? Let us know down below. Here's my outsider.
I can't say I've ever had a Mars bar cheesecake, but how do you think they make it, Barry?
Well, with a cream cheese filling with some Mars bars, you need a fun-sized packet of Mars bars, of course, but always look up the recipe for this. Here's my outsider.
Yes, as Barry was saying, always look up the recipe. In fact, it sounds so yummy, I'd love to look it up tonight.
And always, like I said, excuse me, always look at the date of your packaging, like I said at the beginning of the program today. Here's my outsider.
Yes, as Barry was saying, look at the packaging is extremely important to see if it's in date and it's still edible. And that's also with you if you're making cakes and everything. Make sure the ingredients are in date and ready to go.
Now, never use off ingredients if you make a cheesecake, because like I also said at the start of episode 66 today, please don't use ingredients that are off. Here's my outsider.
Yes, as Barry was saying at the start of the other episodes, make sure the ingredients are all in date and healthy, so you can make a delicious cheesecake.
And have a suitable ring pan to place your ingredients in. And here's my outsider.
Yes, as Barry said, make sure you have suitable pans and pots and everything to place the ingredients in. How do you make a normal cheesecake, Barry?
Well, we've crushed up biscuits using melted butter, okay, and you can put the base in the fridge while you make the filling. Here's my outsider.
I must say, Barry, that sounds awfully delicious.
So a cheesecake, they're great for desserts, farewells, morning tea or afternoon tea. Here's my outsider.
Yes, as Barry was saying, they're fairly easy to make as well. Don't need too much ingredients, and they're everyone's fan favourite.
And also, guys, before you cook a cheesecake, make sure that you have enough of everything. Here's my offsider.
Yes, as Barry was saying, make sure you look at the recipe first and make sure you have all the ingredients and enough of the ingredients, because then if you miss some things, the cheesecakes won't turn out quite as nice or as good.
And always have good biscuits too for the base. Here's my offsider.
Yes, as Barry said, the base is very important of a cheesecake. What biscuits do you suggest, Barry?
A plain biscuit, okay, with no filling, just a plain standard round biscuit.
That sounds very nice, like a breakfast biscuit, or one you dip in your tea.
Or one that you dip in your tea, like milk arrowroot or something.
That sounds very nice, Barry.
I always consider people's food allergies too when you are cooking a cheesecake, or when you are cooking making a cheesecake. Sorry, here's my offsider.
Yes, as Barry was saying, make sure the people you're giving the cheesecake to, make sure you have all their allergies under wrap, so you don't make sure that they don't have anything they can't have. Can cheesecakes be dairy-free, Barry?
You'll have to look up a recipe for those.
Very good. So it sounds like a cheesecake can be used for many different people who have allergies then?
Yeah, you'll have to look up that. And also, look up where cheesecake originally comes from if you have the kids on school holidays this week or next week. Here's my offsider.
Yes, as Barry was saying, that's a great school holiday project to make a cheesecake at home together, and also look into the origins of how a cheesecake is made and where it came from.
And also, you can use Snickers bars for a cheesecake too if you don't have Mars bars. Now, what is a Snickers bar? Well, a Snickers bar is like a bar that's covered in milk chocolate, okay? Then it's got nougat, peanuts and caramel. Here's my offsider.
Yes, Barry said he's making me very hungry talking about those ones, because that's one of my favourite ones. It's a bar covered in milk chocolate. It's got nuts, nougat, caramel, and a thin layer of something else I can't remember. It's very nice.
What you do is you crush up the biscuits in a Ziploc bag, guys. Crush them up and make sure that you grease your dish, your pan well with melted butter. Here's my offsider.
Yes, as Barry was saying, do all those things, because if you don't do them properly, the cheesecake will stick, and you'll have it all crumbled and ruined when it comes out.
And then you go, oh no. So, cheesecake, find out where they are made and where they came from originally and what year they were invented. Here's my offsider.
Yes, as Barry was saying, it's a very good school holiday project as well. Maybe in another section we can talk about school holiday projects for children.
And make sure that if the kids are making a cheesecake, make sure that they don't handle sharp objects in the kitchen. Here's my offsider.
Yes, as Barry was saying, make sure they don't handle any sharp objects in the kitchen without any adult supervision.
And make sure that before you cook, guys, wash your hands and wear gloves. Here's my offside.
Yes, as Barry was saying, it's extremely important to wash your hands and wear gloves if you're working outside the home.
And inside the home.
And inside the home too.
So, if you are baking the cheesecake, guys, make sure that you preheat your oven to the right temperature before you put the cheesecake in. Here's my offside.
That's right, as Barry said, follow the recipe. Make sure the oven is heated to the right temperature before you put it in, and you leave it in for the right amount of time so it doesn't undercook and doesn't overcook.
And keep an eye on the cheesecake and don't open the oven door to see how it is getting on. Wait until the time is up. Here's my offside.
Yes, as Barry was saying, wait until the time's up, don't open the oven door, and make sure, if there are children around, make sure you're supporting them as well.
And if you are cooking cheesecake in the kitchen, have your ingredients prepared, guys, such as your Ziploc bags, your biscuits and your filling. Here's my offside.
Yes, as Barry was saying, make sure all those things are protected and ziplocked away if you haven't used them. And happy cooking, everyone.
And remember, wear oven gloves if you are taking a cheesecake, a baked dish out of the oven, and make sure that it is oven proof. Here's my offside.
Yes, as Barry was saying, when you take the cheesecake out of the oven, make sure you have oven mitts that are oven proof, because it's going to be extremely hot and you don't want to burn yourself.
And never allow children to reach for hot pans if the stove is on, because that's how fatal critical accidents happen with toddlers. Here's my offside.
Yes, as Barry was saying, that's how serious accidents can happen with toddlers, and you have to be extremely careful that you are monitoring them at all times.
Especially if you are baking or frying or boiling things. And now here we go with the final topic of today's show, and that is daylight saving. Here we go.